Hi Sagittarius. Welcome. Thanks for stopping by. This is for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Venus, and Rising for the next 2 weeks. It's taken me at least about 45 minutes just to get a little something. But I got some delays, and I think that this was very orchestrated. There were some updates on my computer, so I couldn't really, I couldn't really access anything. I thought, maybe I should do it on my phone. Nah, that'll be even worse. So I did a couple of things, and I got it restarted. But anyway, I guess, oh my gosh, because it's been an hour, and I don't remember a lot of times what I wrote down, and the first thing it says is, expect delays. Otherwise, the tower moments will be more challenging than expected. And I got 3 words: mice, rice, flower. Go figure. So when I went to clear the board with the little singing bowl, I have this labradorite orb on my little stand here. And as I pulled it away, the orb it just kind of like took off. I didn't even feel it, like tap it. I just was like, boom, away we go. So I thought, oh, okay, well, that's interesting. And I kind of held it for a hot second, and I was like, oh, here we go. So it only takes and this is what I got. All right. It only takes a little tap to get us to make a very needed shift. We know it's there. We know it's waiting, but we just haven't focused enough on it or pushed through to make something happen. So this is about a shifting paradigm. This is like a kind of a big deal maybe for a lot of people. And again, this might be the next 2 weeks when you find this, but it is relevant to when you find it, if that makes sense, right? So, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Aquarius. I know a few Aquarians. Pretty anal people. Hypersensitive. I hope you're one of the healed Aquariuses. Not ones that overthink things and beat themselves up for days at a time. Right? Oh my goodness. It's all good. It's part of that learning process. Healed Aquarius is pretty freaking awesome. So we'll do the past energies that are going to be relevant for us in the present, and we'll pull present and what we can pull forward and learn from it, and then we'll do future. That future energy that we can integrate into the present. So even though it's listed as present, it's things like, oh yeah, I realize, yes, this, and this, that applies here. What can I learn? What can I use in my spiritual toolbox to move me forward in the present? And then we're going to kind of look at, well, between these two things, this is what set us up for what's coming in. I don't know if that makes sense. Holy crow. Alrighty. But it takes about 9 cards, and the cards on the table, I am not one who likes to do things samey-same. It would have driven me absolutely bonkers to be a twin. So this one got flipped up, so we're going to do this guy first, right? And this is the 7 of Pentacles, so it maybe has been a waiting game. And it's been a very meditative waiting game. And it's been a process of maturity, right? It's been a challenge because that is being met with the Knight of Wands, and he's kind of saying, yo, you got this. Let's move on. Let's move on, right? Let's move on. Let's make this happen. Don't always feel that way. Oh, dear. This is a fun card. This is actually good because, this is the 10 of Swords, and the 10 of Swords is kind of speaking to our dead, done, and over with. That's how we feel about the past. Look, I've moved on. I've moved on. I've done the work. I've made the changes, and I've been as quick as I can with it with a passion. And it's done. I've cut all of this off. So now it's like, what's the next step? What's the next step that we can be looking forward to, right? And, you know, not knowing what the future holds, or even trying to understand where we're at right now, is you know, there's this, the dark and the light, and it's almost like there's a confusion, because there's stop being so like you want to know and understand, and it's like there's this overthinking, and I think I mentioned that earlier. There's like this overthinking and kind of beating ourselves up, and that's why we kind of said, look, I'm done, I'm over it, it's done and dusted. So the mystery is, it's like we're trying to figure out who, Aquarius, we're trying to figure out who it is, because these figures are dim. We can kind of see who they are, but not quite. And in the traditional card, it's like the guy working and there's a contract. And this, it looks like it's between these three individuals, but it's like two rather than the three together. It's like 2 and 1. And we might be holding ourselves back and not really, okay, could be fear, apprehension, and we maybe need to look at some unhealed or unresolved emotions, you know, burned in a relationship, right? Dude, we go from this ending and still hanging on the shite. Look, this is what it's starting to feel like. Yeah, this is an awesome card, and it feels really dark right now, right? It can feel really dark for some of us right now, because Aquarius, this is something that we've been dealing with, we feel like, most of our life. And with the recent shenanigans that has gone on in the world, it's like muddied the water. And so I think that's what the mystery is. And it's like we've separated. Oh my gosh, we've separated from ourselves. Something about a triune being. That's really all I'm getting at this point. And I think because it's such a drastic shift that we're experiencing, that it's difficult for us to kind of not feel like it's, you know what, warmed over. But I don't think that that's the reality. I think that's where we might be at right now. We need this respite, remembering that respite, and we had the time to make and get clarity on these 7 of Pentacles. And we're still somewhat divided. There's a bit of a mystery of this integration of self. And we have this Knight of Wands who's like, I don't know, man. It's almost like even though we did this, we were passionate, and it's like, ah, crap, what did I just do? So a lot of times when we make a decision, we can regret that decision. And it stops us in our tracks. And we can't really like figure it out. We need some clarity here, Spirit. This is like the original one. Oh, yeah. We got to break this. We got to break this. So if we aren't able to break this unhealed aspect of self, this 5 of Swords, this is going to call for us, you know, and it's not going to be comfortable, but we're victorious already. This is calling us to realize that victory isn't always what we expect it to be. It's not going to always look the way we expect it to look. Because with this waiting, this mystery, this maybe a little bit of, you know, not really confusion, but just a mystery, and boom. There's a strategy here. You won. The 5 of Swords is a winner. Do you know why I know this? Because look, 3 of Cups, right? Celebration. And you know what? That's fun too, because it could be, for some, it could be an integration of that triune being, ones that you might not even see or be aware of. It could also be a blending of families, of friendships, even of a business. Queen of Swords. So clear. To go from this meditative, earthy, I see it now, I know the timing, and I'm waiting for the right time, to, you know, a splitting, some confusion in the splitting, and now we've got clarity. This lady has clarity of her divine purpose. That's what you have, Aquarius. Clarity of your divine purpose. I got a little bonus. This is Seven of Wands. So there are some potential skirmishes in future, but it's like not necessarily on the radar. I don't even know how to like really, it's there, but it's kind of off to the side or just kind of lurking, right? So there has been some, they're already telling me how many. I don't, you know, whatever, y'all, from the original source, the original word, the original thought. And that original thought can translate into the Akash. And what helps us get that translation often are the, you know, benevolent energies, entities, and beings that we can connect with. Right? Yeah. Let's see what happens here with Aquarius. This is, you know, even though it says 2 weeks, it's like we integrate the past 2 weeks and looking into the future of the 2 weeks. So it's whoa. Not all. Just that one. That was me. That's chaos. This is what we're avoiding. Raising awareness to avoid the chaos that is going to ensue. And we are going to feel like we might have some fear, and it does. There's no need for that. And you know that people can make sense of that and in their own way, the word fear. But the thing is, okay, we have to have it integrated within ourselves, what makes sense. Not what somebody's quickie, snippy, little, yeah. So there's chaos. So we need to stay focused. And, you know, I know that a lot of people need to have that focus. I know I do. I have to stay very focused for the day job, right? And mastering our emotions. So I think she can hang out here with this lady. You know, the Queen of Swords is very staunch. She knows her stuff. This lady also knows that emotional side. And hopefully she's going to be able to balance between this Ten of Swords and then ending up with this Death card now with the Queen of Swords. So this is all very thoughts and words. This is really in our head. Okay. And this is calling on our ability to summon what we need. These are the powers that we need to manifest within ourselves. Now what happens is when we manifest within ourselves, we can then spend time with pouring things outside of us to help other people. I feel like this is like really vague. I don't know. I never remember. That's why I have to try to write things down beforehand. I will never remember all of this. This is crazy. I have to write it down. So this is typically money, but it's also about relationships. It's money. Something to do with money. There's one. Oh dear, for Aquarius, it's going to be a bit of a crazy next couple of weeks, you know, and this is timeless, so whenever you find this, it's going to be relevant for you. And it's going to be magic. It's going to be absolute freaking nail it. Breakthrough. It's breakthrough. And I think that's where these are coming in at. These guys are the breakthrough. This is letting go. Accepting that letting go. Because a lot of times we know we need to do something and we don't do it. We just have to accept it and just frickin' do it. And the money, once we do this, if this is about manifestation for you, the money will come very, 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 very quickly. It's that letting go. And, ooh. So what this feels like is what we're trying to avoid. And that is the rough patch, low on cash, reinvention is what we do not need to avoid. The reinvention is what's happening in this whole process. This is like a reinvention, and it's really uncomfortable. Trust me, I've been through a few. And success. All will go well with your new venture. You are on the right track. Hard work pays off. And if you're truly a manifester, hard work has really nothing to do with it. But manifesting has everything to do with the right mindset. So this is up with the skull, having the right mindset. There is financial growth. We're gonna tap into those roots of abundance. Financial growth coming to fruition, abundance, outdoor jobs, family business, and stability. Whatever is applying to you, I would take each and every one of those. That sounds like an absolute blast, Aquarius. Life purpose, more than money, spiritual wealth, counselor, being guided, and divine path. So this is also the celebration. This feels like the celebration. And, you know, I think these kind of do feel like they are the eggs starting over and saving up resources. So that can feel like that, but really it's not a starting over. It doesn't feel like a starting over. It feels like we are open now to new opportunities. Could be in the same industry that you're in, could be something else, could be a new relationship, could be something else, could be somebody you had in a past life, could be something or someone in this life that you have not seen for a while. But it feels like that this is a very protected time for us. Aquarius, this is wowzers. All right, so this is an overarching energy to pull this all together, and it's sacred geometry. So let's see what we can pull through. I'm not sure if that'll be all of them, but there's two right there already. And go for Aquarius next 2 weeks. What other, what can sacred geometry help us pull all of this together, right? Okay, well, there's your answer. All right, even though it's typically, I don't know, there is no typical for me. You know me, I don't like typical. That was that one. All right, that's the one that I had missed. All right, so I'm going to set these guys aside. We'll take the one that flipped up first. Expect the miracles, guys. Aquarius, expect the miracles. This is sometimes something really challenging to grasp. The frequency of miracles supports our belief in ourselves as part of source, and therefore our belief that anything is possible. So no matter what you've set yourself up for, this is what we got coming. Prosperity. I think you'd be open to that. Uncomfortable. You know, going to the dentist is not the funnest thing on the planet, right? But the frequency of prosperity supports our feeling of well-being by allowing the inclusion of everything that makes our body, mind, heart, soul, and spirit sing. It invites us to express ourselves in joy and celebration of the abundance and riches that the universe provides. So this is support. This is like huge support. This is the avoidance of this Seven of Wands. This is going to avoid that skirmish. Transition. This came up the other day. Frequency of transition supports our deep understanding of the ever-changing nature of existence in our lives so that we can learn to let go. Didn't I say let go earlier? Surrender to the process and allow transition to occur with ease. Transition. So that's like here. This is like all of this. And this, of course, one of the important things about manifesting is those feelings of passion. It's not excitement, it's not out of control, it's not anxiety. Those are very intense feelings, but this is about passion. The frequency of passion reminds us that beneath every intense emotion lies the hidden gem of insight, balance, and calm. It assists us in finding the balance within this intensity, moving us from chaos to the calm of its core, where we can let its long-lasting wisdom fill us up. passion. I mean, I think most people, if you're of a certain age, or at least you're old enough to feel those feelings of passion, and you get into something that you felt you were passionate about, now you're having to manage all this other stuff in life and relationships and just yada, yada, yada. Now the next thing you know, where has the passion gone? And this is part of why we're needing to pull through these and forward and just this is pulling everything together. This is the passion, the miracle, and it's going to result in prosperity. That was it. Alrighty. So Aquarius, thank you so much for stopping by again. Please do like, share, subscribe. Make sure you push that notifications button, and only because I got some cool stuff coming up with Stone Hobbit, and hopefully forever we'll have something coming up with Stone Hobbit. But there's a couple of things I got coming up. Always check that notifications. Click that notifications button so you can get, a heads up on what is coming. And if you want some help with maybe dealing with some solutions, get a different perspective, send me an email. Alrighty. I hope this was very, very helpful. And the one thing I do look forward to is seeing you on the flip side. Bye.